Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Gary. I'd like to welcome to the stage now Ben Williams, former Royal Marine.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is an absolute honour to speak here. Gary's nicked a couple of my jokes, which are throughout. He asked for a couple at the beginning, so I gave him across. I've had to sacrifice them. So if I repeat myself, blame Gary. During our training before Afghanistan, it was continuously pressed upon us that whenever an explosion happened, we were to stay still, let the dust settle, and observe the incident that had occurred. The reason for this was the extremely high improvised explosive device threat our enemy employed. The Taliban would often place 2 or 3, sometimes even more, explosives within a single area to wound as many troops as possible as they provided medical care for those already injured. During any explosion, the hardest discipline was following this training, feeling as though you were ignoring your friends who were incapacitated and injured as you waited for the all clear. In 2011, late into a tour of operations, my patrol entered a Taliban village to push the enemy out and allow the local people to return. Moments before entering the village, the enemy detonated a large IED next to us. Lying on the floor, in shock and pain, I watched the dust clear, knowing in my head that whatever the damage, I too was in for a lonely wait. Looking back down the small track, I witnessed 6 of my fellow Royal Marines lying on the floor, injured and awaiting help. And amongst the devastation was our commander, Paul Weiss, MC. Vicey, as he is known to his friends, was an invaluable leader within our team, a man who owned a wealth of experience and who time and time again extracted us away from many a desperate and dangerous situation. Within seconds of realising he was severely injured, Marines further down the track ignored their own safety and sprinted to his aid. The Taliban was circling our position, and there was little doubt there was many more devices laid beneath us. But the Marines did not hesitate in risking their lives to help the one person who had repeatedly saved theirs. Vicey was our leader, a man who we unflinchingly trusted, a leader who inspired us, a commando which fellow Marines would run through fire for, as they did that very day. His inspiring leadership created a group of followers who would do anything for him out of devotion, not necessity, creating the courage within them and the courage that saved his life that day. Several years on, with my business partner Tomo, who didn't make the top table, bang bang show, I won. I am now a leadership and performance coach and take that commando ethos across into sport and business. When people ask me to describe leadership, I simply reply that is to create followership within the group you lead, to inspire others to follow you through your actions and commands, not because they must, but because they want to, as like my brave colleagues. I've met many inspiring leaders over my career, but few have I met away from our elite organisation who reflect such incredible leadership qualities as Gareth Southgate. As a huge football fan, being offered a pivotal role in training the England football team for a weekend when they visited the Commando Training Centre in Lympstone was an unbelievable opportunity. I would be lying if I said I wasn't looking forward to getting the likes of Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling and Gareth, as well as many of the stars a bit wet, cold, miserable, to see what the players were really made of and test their true grit. They were in our world, and we subjected them to a night in the woods, eating only rations and a small fire to warm them. We let them loose on our soft pellet weapon systems to clear through draining buildings. They were taught a tough physical lesson on the bottom field assault course through a traditional commando thrashing run by the infamous training instructors. And they performed a mock attack onto an enemy position with paintball guns where Jamie Vardy took a very precise and well-aimed shot to the forehead. Obviously not a Leicester fan, that one, so weren't me. Throughout the weekend, everyone had their phones and other devices removed, including us Marines. We were all in it together. Whatever we asked the team to do, we did first, followed by their manager, Gareth. A commander who I look up to in the Marines once said to me, as a leader, never ask anyone to do something if you're not first willing to do it yourself. These words could not be truer if I was to describe what I witnessed from Gareth's leadership that weekend and onwards. Gareth went first on every task we gave the team, and without hesitation. Not only were the players on the commando experienced, but also the England staff. If Gareth was going to build the culture within the England camp he so desired, then he would have to spy and bring all together, no matter their role. This would require actions that would create trust from the people he led, laying the foundations for a unique group of people. One of the 4 commando tests every Royal Marines recruit must pass at the end of 32 weeks training is the endurance course. 2 miles of mud, water, tunnels, hills and undulating terrain, followed by a 4-mile run back to camp, all whilst wearing... I almost made it. At least I'm not trying to say ethical. Camp, whatever. Run back to camp, all whilst wearing 21 pounds of kit and a rifle. Within the course lays the sheep dip, a 5-metre-long tank fully submerged in freezing brown water. To get through it, you cannot swim. Instead, you simply must rely on a person at one end pushing you through and someone else at the other to pull you out. All you can do is own confidence and trust in those responsible for you, as the cold water quickly removes your breath. After we Marines had demonstrated the correct technique of how to go through, it was the team's turn. Worried and unsettled faces looked back as one by one they cautiously entered the water. But without question or hesitation, Gareth went first, inspiring the less confident ones to do so themselves. But when the photo of a soaking Gareth Southgate gasping for air as he has pulled out the sheep dip made every front page weeks later, few had actually realised the positive impact of his actions that day. Jermaine Defoe and several other less confident people in water had initially refused to go through out of fear. But Gareth's actions inspired them to do it, creating increased confidence and reward for challenging themselves and succeeding. They were inspired by his actions, which is a natural sign of followership. Just over a year later, England took part in one of the most successful World Cups in over 28 years. Whatever opinion you hold of the team's results or fixtures, no one can deny that we were seeing a unique and different set of players we had not witnessed in years, backed up ever more by their most recent results within the Nations League. Gareth is the type of person that if you ask the formula for his success, he will tell you it is his players and staff, not him. When the team does well, he gives the praise without question. When the team fails, he takes the responsibility on personally, the mark of a true leader, a leader his Royal Marines grandfather would be immensely proud of. But last year, during the delightful summer of football, Gareth's leadership did more than get England to the semi-finals of the World Cup. It led to the increased nationwide sales of waistcoats. Cheers for stealing that. Unbelievable. First time. He also inspired a group of players to believe in themselves and own the confidence, tenacity and courage that they can achieve more than what people expected. To own the heart of the 3 lions they proudly wore upon their shirts. To succeed during difficult challenges such as the Colombian penalty shootout, similar moments Gareth had previously experienced himself, allowing great empathy for his players. But most importantly, when I quoted at the start of this speech that leadership is about creating followership, just like Vicey did with our troop, Gareth did exactly that with the nation. Pubs, clubs, streets and homes became full of die-hard football fans and new supporters, including my wife, which is hard, who came together in the belief that it was coming home. For the press and the nation to praise a team that had just gone out displayed just how much the opinion of many had changed. all through the culture Gareth had installed within his camp. The support, passion, and immense pride in our nation's football team is finally back, a result and impact of Gareth's inspiring leadership. England may not have brought back the trophy itself, but they did bring back a love of football to a football nation, and it truly did come home. Thank you very much.